So in your time as a director of religious education, or a DRE for short, like what's the good, what's the bad, what's the ugly? Like, what did you notice, boots on the ground, in terms of the life of working for a parish? You already kind of alluded that now that you don't do that, you're actually able to give more. That's an interesting insight. But what did you learn?
And before I start, keep me on track. So if I go into particulars, but I don't talk about the spiritual side, I need to make it. I need to make sure that I'm recognizing both ends of things.
I'm glad you said that, and I will help you with that to the degree that I'm able. Right, because at the end of the day, we're just looking to add value into people's lives.
Because I don't, like we talked about this before, we don't want this to be a complain fest about how bad things are.
Well, I guess you've let the cat out of the bag. That there is some bad, maybe even some ugly.
Right.
You could have said, "Oh, it's all good, man." It's
right.
It's like incredible.
No, we got to be
part
realists.
of this is being honest. Yes. Part of this is being realists about you know where things are, and if where things are is not where we want them to be, we need to be able to identify that.
Yeah, and as realists, not just like a veiled pessimist, but like recognize the good, recognize the bad, test everything, keep only what is good, kind of a thing. So anyway, with that caveat, parish life, it's tough.
Don't get me canceled.
If anybody, and I've talked to some people more recently too, people who are interested in getting in working for parishes or getting involved with different things, and especially me coming fresh into the Catholic Church, not being raised as a Catholic, and then jumping into this world and then jumping right into leadership. Which I was even surprised. I was like, I'm fresh out of college, and now they're letting me run a religious education program. But so when you see it from the inside, it's I guess the first thing I'd say is that there, as my father-in-law would say, no group has the corner on jerks. Like you get like there's no group that you're like, oh, this is just gonna, like, everyone's gonna be on the same team and everyone's gonna be happy. And I think especially with spiritual things, we start to think, oh, it's a parish, it's a church, we're all Catholic, like this is good, we're all on the same page because we're all Catholic. And it's just not. Like that's one of the first things that we have to, it doesn't necessarily make it not hurt when things happen, but it helps to have the perspective so that we don't have this this break in our mind of like, wait, I thought this was this way, but it's not. It's this way.
Well said. Yeah, I think cognitive dissonance, which is a psychological term, that what you thought was real and what's in front of you is so wide of a rift that sometimes you're incapable of making that jump to reality, which is simultaneously a personal defense mechanism in the brain, but it also doesn't help in the sense of you do need to have a thick skin, it sounds like, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? So that's adding the value.
Right. And you need to prepare yourself. I think about how like exorcists will talk about how they take time they have to be in a prayerful attitude and a state of grace and everything to do exorcism.
No question.
This is parallel to parish life. If you're not in a good place, you're going to get crushed. Mm-hmm. So,
and we are under attack, right? It's a spiritual war.
Yeah. So
to build up God's kingdom.
Thing number two, so now with that part, thing number two is that there are people, like you said, there are people in the church. So, and every person in the church is a people. So, like from the little old lady who sits in the front row every Sunday to the priest and everybody in between, they're all people. And that we also know we are people too. So, and the broken element and the paradox of we are the spotless bride of Christ simultaneously at the same time as we are being purified in the church militant, the church on earth. So we have to, and that just helps because we have to like be remembering to pray for the mission, pray for the people that are there in the parish, like pray for your area, pray for your priests because they're under attack. There's a lot of ulterior motives going on all over the place, whether it's groups in the parish, the priest, the different leaders in the church. So, and I don't know, I don't want to be way too generalizing about it, but like just that there are some groups are going to be spot on, some priests are going to be spot on, and some parishes there's going to be groups that are kind of power hungry about things, or they want things to stay the way they know it to be. And sometimes there'll be priests who are trying to either maintain a status quo or they have some very unorthodox views about where things should go or how ministry should be led and stuff like that. So I think having a clear...
We're dropping some red pills here, man. We're smashing the heresy of solipsism.
Right. So I think it's just important to focus on those. And again, I fall into the issue where I think if I think of all the problems that could go wrong when they happen, I won't be as disappointed or hurt by them.
No,
and
good.
It helps.
It does.
It definitely helps to some degree to know. Oh, like if I think, I could get cancer someday. I'm going to think about this every once in a while. Like this is a possibility. And then if it happens, then I'll be like, oh, I knew this could happen. But it's still going to be. It's still not going to be great, and I'm still going to have to deal with it. So.
Right.
So there's that. Like we have to be aware of the issues. And the joys, like we have to have hope, and we have to.
Yes.
But it's not an automatic because I'm part of the church. Like we're still, like, it's only going to work to the degree that we're allowing God to let it work. So, like, He respects our free will in that respect. So, like, a priest can drag a whole parish down with him, right? It's the old saying that the road to hell is paved with the skulls of
bishops,
right?
Yeah,
but priests are extension of the bishops.